I'm Ryan from ExtremeTerrain.com, and this is my review of the Bushwacker flat style fender flare kit fitting all 2007 to 2016 JKs. There's a version of this kit available for both the 2-door and the 4-door Wrangler. Depending on your suspension setup and the size of the tires you're running, your up travel may be limited by your fender flares. If your tires hit your fender flares when you're in an off-road situation, it can pop the flares right off the Jeep and you'll be picking them up off the side of the trail. Adding a set of flat fenders like this will provide additional clearance so that you can have more up travel without having any interference issues. Now, there are a couple of thoughts when it comes to metal flares versus plastic flares like that you see here. Some people will say that a metal flare holds up better than a plastic flare when you rub it against a tree or another off-road obstacle, while others say that the metal flare not bending or breaking will actually transfer that impact into the body of the Jeep, causing a much more expensive repair. So if you're looking for a flat fender flare, you have the decision between metal and plastic flares, and if you decide to go with a set of plastic flares, this is a really nice option. These are going to be one of the highest quality fender flares out there on the market, and they are a little bit more expensive because of it. Bushwacker likes to make their fender flares in a two-piece design. Well, in this case there's actually more than two pieces, but the idea is that you have an inner fender that bolts directly onto the Jeep, and then the fender flare itself that bolts to that inner fender, and there's some weather stripping that goes in between. The flares themselves are made of a UV resistant material, so they're not going to fade over time, and this is a Duraflex plastic that is designed to bend if you rub it on an off-road obstacle instead of breaking. Again, that's something that a metal flare is not going to do. These have a textured finish, which is really similar to that OE finish that you'll have on your factory fender flares, so it'll look good with the other black plastic accents on your Jeep and a lot of textured black powder-coated aftermarket parts that you might bolt up to your Wrangler. The front flares provide a total of 9.5 inches of coverage, while the rears provide 4 3/4 inches, which will help keep the tires from throwing mud and other junk up on the side of the Jeep. These also include the lights that you need for your turn signals and side markers, even though you do have to do a little bit of wiring to get them set up. And these are designed to work with your factory inner fenders, even though you have to do some trimming to get them bolted up. All of the locations that need to be cut and the way that you can make those factory inners work with these is in the instructions, so it makes the process pretty simple. I really like to run a set of inner fender liners because it keeps mud and junk out of the engine bay, which is especially important on the passenger side because you have a big bundle of wiring harnesses right there, which otherwise would be constantly barraged by things kicked up from that front passenger side tire. The process of installing a new set of fender flares is pretty simple, although it can take a little bit of time, especially when you consider the trimming that you need to do to get the inner fender liners working. The first step is to install those inner fenders with the weather stripping that's included and all of the hardware that's included in the kit. Once all of those pieces are bolted onto the Jeep, then you'll bolt the fender flare itself onto that inner fender. As I mentioned, the kit does include lights that will bolt right onto the front fenders, but you will have to do a little bit of wiring to get those working. The kit also includes alcohol rubs to help with the weather stripping adhesion and some reflectors to keep you completely DOT approved. This is a really complete kit of a really high quality fender flare, and you can see it when you look at all the components that are included. The whole installation of this kit should take about 3 hours or so, and you won't need any specialty tools. However, you will need a good socket set and something to trim the plastic inner fender liners. Now, even though this is a really high quality and very complete set of flat fenders, there are actually kits out there that are more expensive than this one, and some of them don't even include the lights. So in my opinion, while this is a little bit pricey, you're getting a lot of value for what you pay. If you're somebody who does a lot of hardcore off-roading and you plan to really beat up your fender flares and they're probably not going to last that long, I would recommend going with one of the less expensive kits on the market. However, if you're somebody who plans on having these for a good long time, it's my opinion that the investment up front is worth it. So if you're looking to add a little bit of additional clearance for more up travel on your 2-door or 4-door JK, I would definitely recommend taking a look at these Bushwacker flat fender flares. So that's my review of the Bushwacker flat style flare kit fitting all 2007 to 2016 JKs that you can find right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.